So, I previously said on my last video that I was done with doing first viewing to a point because I'm not going to do this whole thing now where I just review every first movie I saw every month. But I think I'm want to still now just stick with reviewing franchises that I've seen for the first time. For example, like what I've done before with Lethal Weapon and Fast and the Furious. And now we're going to do a horror franchise. We're going to take a look into the Scream movies. With the new Scream movie out, and I finally see all five of them, it's now time to talk about all five of these movies. So let's get right into it with Scream.
Answer the phone. Don't open the door. Don't try to hide.
Everybody's a suspect!
Not scared, are you? Squeak.
So yeah, Scream is a pretty damn good horror movie. I mean, it is literally perfect in every way. The acting, the characters, the writing from Kevin Williamson is just great. Wes Craven, who is just making fun of his own work, is just pretty amazing. Jamie Kennedy is pretty much awesome. And I can't believe Son of the Mask was so bad that he really got blackballed from Hollywood because he's excellent in
Why
this
can't
movie.
they find their pops, man?
Because he's probably dead. His body will come popping up in the last reel somewhere. Eyes gouged out, fingers cut off, teeth knocked out. See, the police are always off track with this shit. If they'd watch Prom Night, they'd save time. There's a formula to it. A very simple formula.
And it's a great screenplay about this '90s whodunit slasher film about these like kids that know all the scary movie tropes, and it really just works like on how it makes fun of the genre in every way, and it works. Scream is just a great horror film, and it's definitely one of the best slasher whodunit films with just an overall groundbreaking ideas in it, and there's really not that much I can say about it. It's got fun characters, a fun plot, fun twists, and again a great screenplay by Kevin Williamson. All right, now on to the sequel.
Why not set your goals higher, huh? You want to be one of the big boys? Manson, Bundy, OJ?
What's your favorite scary movie?
So Scream 2 is definitely a sequel that makes fun of the fact that it is a sequel and makes fun of how sequels aren't always as good as the original, which gets talked about multiple times.
After two serial killers who have been immortalized on film.
Thank you. Right. Are you suggesting that someone's trying to make a real-life sequel?
Stab 2? Who'd want to do that? Sequels suck.
No, come on, man.
Oh, please, please. By definition alone, they're inferior
It's
films.
bullshit generalization. Many sequels have surpassed their original.
Oh, yeah?
Name one.
Yeah.
I got it, by the way. I got it. The Godfather, Part 2.
And another funny scene with Jamie Kennedy explaining horror sequels.
The way I see it, someone's out to make a sequel. You know, cash in on all the movie murder hoopla. So it's our job to observe the rules of the sequel. Number one, the body count is always bigger. Number two, the death scenes are always much more elaborate. More blood, more gore. Carnage, candy. Your core audience just expects it. And number three, if you want your sequel to become a franchise, never, ever...
How do we find the killer, Randy? That's what I want to know.
Oh.
And overall, it's a fun sequel. It has a lot of fun ideas to play with. The idea, because this is when they introduced the idea of stab, and I love that opening scene with the doctor from House. That's a fun. It's a fun like opening. I don't know if it's better as in the Drew Barrymore scene in the first movie, but this is still a very fun suspenseful moment. The reveal is definitely, I think, is very good. The twist at the end is very good, and there's a lot of like chase scenes. I actually think this definitely has some of the best chase scenes in the series with at the college, especially the scene with Courtney Cox and David Arquette in the, I think what was a like a sound, like a recording studio at the college. This definitely it uses the college setting to its advantage, and it really does work in this like setting. And I overall think Scream 2 is just a very good sequel with a great twist. But the biggest problem is something that really affects with the third film, which I'll get into when I get into the third film. But overall, Scream 2 is a phenomenal follow-up to Scream, and this movie really should not even work, but it does, because Kevin Williamson is definitely really great. And sadly, he is not in the third one.
There is one secret that can never be revealed until the end.
Anyone, including the main character, can die. This means you sit.
From suspense master Wes Craven comes the final chapter in the terrifying trilogy. Scream 3.
Alright, so look. Scream 3 is actually not that bad, but there's a feeling that this was censored because before, between Scream 2 and Scream 3, there was the infamous Columbine shooting, and there was this original idea that one of the killers, I'm not spoiling anything, from the first Scream was basically gonna come back to life out of a coma and basically tell kids to, do this stuff. And, yeah, it would have been pretty much bad taste, and, so they went this route with it's now, there are no kids at all, and it's just adult actors, and it's still fun. I like the scene in the dressing room when they're playing with the prop knives. I like the fun little Roger Corman cameo. I don't know. I find that fun that Wes Craven added Roger Corman into it. But there is definitely a lack of two things. Kevin Williamson's writing, because he did not wrote this one, and Jamie Kennedy's not in it. But he makes an appearance that's just kinda silly.
You guys should see.
Told you I'd make a movie someday. Huh?
Oh my god.
Well, if you're watching this tape, it means, as I feared, I did not survive these killings here at Windsor College. And that giving up my virginity to Karen Kolchak at the video store was probably not a good idea.
Karen Kolchak.
Yes, Karen Kolchak.
Creepy Karen?
Shut up. She's a sweet person, okay? We were working late, we were putting away some videos in the porno section, and, shit happens.
I feel like I don't get why they couldn't just keep Jamie Kennedy around. I'd rather, if Jamie Kennedy was a part of, the main cast of Courtney Cox, Nev Campbell, and David Arquette. Why couldn't, it just be those four in all these movies? And, I don't know, this just shows that they should not have killed him off in Scream 2, and it really does affect this movie because he just kind of comes into this weird, TV scene. It's just, I think it's corny and pretty bad, and I don't really, it is definitely hard for what they're trying to, because now they're making fun of the idea of trilogies, which a lot of horror movies don't do trilogies anymore. I mean, I can't really think of any other horror series that has tried to, make an entire trilogy, because that doesn't ever happen in them. And also, I would like to point out that this is a film where Sydney basically finds out the truth about her mother and how she was an actress and got into, and was blackballed by the producers. And this is, in the Scream movies, the first four were by the Dimension Films, and Dimension Films is owned by Harvey Weinstein. And it kind of feels weird that a movie that's produced by them has a plot around shady producers. So I feel like that, I don't know, it's a weird prediction and almost like a warning sign of what happens. And also Rose McGowan from the last one. Alright, sorry about that. But So Rose McGowan's character Tatum, who was also massively blackballed by Weinstein. So that part kind of feels somewhat weird in a way that it's in this movie. But anyway, Scream 3, it's still good, but it's a movie that could have been better if they just at least stick to the original screenplay, at least get Kevin Williamson back. But I still think it's fun. It's still a fun movie, and the cast is still great, but it's definitely the weakest out of this franchise.
House of Wax, Love Night, My Bloody Valentine. It's one of those, right?
None of the above.
I'll be right back. I know this one. You're not supposed to say that, are you?
So I'm pretty mixed when it comes to the last two Scream movies that are not a part of the whole trilogy, and I think both Scream 4 and Scream have a lot of good things about them, and then things like I don't like. But I think Scream 4 is still a very good addition. I really just have to say, I think this has the best reveal out of all the movies. I think since like the first one, or like out of all the sequels, I think this is the best twist. I actually really love this twist. I like how it appreciates its successor, Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is kind of like Scream, but for the zombie movies. And the blood there's a lot more amped up in the gore, because this is making fun of all the Saw movies and the horror remakes that were released. And I really do. And yeah, I will admit the opening is a tad bit corny with all these like multiple reveals and it never ends, and that does get tiring. But I still think the movie's fun. I still like Courtney Cox and Neff Campbell, David Arquette. They are still very good, since it would be kind of like the last movie when they're in their prime and like more center in the story than in when we get to Scream, because like Scream is like a full on like passing the torch style thing. But I still think Scream 4 is still fun and a good like sequel that definitely takes a lot of different turns, and this would sadly be the last movie that Wes Craven ever directed. And I think it's good that he went off on a high note on this one. Alright, so even after Wes Craven's passing and Kevin Williamson coming back to do another Scream movie, it's still very good. I really did like the new Scream movie. I liked the new cast. I liked David Arquette is actually really good in this. And I think it definitely has a lot of great suspense moments and a lot of great writing from Kevin Williamson. The only problem is I just have the ending, and that's the biggest complaint, is that the ending kind of... I guess it's because it was just a scenario, something I was really anticipating, but I think it was just still a very... I thought it was false a bit, and even if I take it out of what I thought was gonna happen, like out of my mind, I still think it's kind of like a weird twist, but I really did like how they made fun of the stab movies, and also like they have Dead Meat in it, but I don't actually watch Dead Meat. I'm sorry, guys, but it's still a very good movie that I enjoyed. And definitely the best film of 2022 so far until, like, The Batman comes out. But, yeah, Scream is definitely... I'm trying to, like, think what I like better. This or Scream 4, but they're pretty much tied for me. So, if I was to rank any of these movies, so it would definitely be Scream 3 at 5, and Scream 4 and Scream 5 at 4 and 3, and then Scream 2 at 2, and then Scream 1 at number 1. Definitely Scream is probably the best horror franchise that's just consistently, like, good, because even when it's bad, I still love these movies. These are very fun horror movies that are very entertaining to watch. So yeah, definitely check out the Scream movies. They're definitely worth watching if you don't like horror movies. And so, that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe, and look out for my next review of a long superhero series.